And just like that, we're live. Hello, everyone.
in the
Howdy.
click in the click
Yeah,
of a button.
it's just a click of a button. One, you know what? Hold on.
One step, one click of a button, and a whole humanity goes live.
I
Anybody in the
know.
world can see us. How can we do that quote and make it ours now?
A trademark.
Yeah. Oh,
One click to connect to the world.
is this a tagline word? This is a
Maybe.
tagline moment we didn't plan. That's awesome.
And in one click, we're connected to the world.
Mm.
Um, sorry, we were talking about something, and I was gonna add it to my to-do list. Oh, the technology, the music, the
The
techno.
music. Yeah.
Add techno music to techno happy hour.
Hour. How
Hashtag.
to do that.
Okay, let me minimize my notes. All right, let me do a quality check. Oh, I need to log in.
I guess I can wrap this month since we are about to finish February and we are coming to the end of the growth cycle series. It was a hell of a fun month to learn about software development and its ROI. We talked a lot about AI and AI fundamentals. I like the where we went from the most basic AI concept to a lot of implementations and challenges. I really that was even a learning curve for me. Not that I didn't necessarily knew how, but there was just lots of things that to learn about and very good start if you're in the AI world and just trying to get your head around where to start.
Yeah.
Um, we've been going through AI compliance and some governance issues. And to wrap up today, um, well, let's see what's ahead.
Let's talk about that. So, welcome everybody. DevTech's happy hour. This is our techno talk. So this is everything for you guys. This is our dedication to the community that we're trying to build here around technology. So if you got questions about technology or IT, this is your space to ask. We have a topic at hand um, every Tuesday and Thursday. That way, we're not here just waiting for someone to to talk to us, right? We want to hopefully in the future this turns into kind of more of a forum where you guys can just have your questions and we just answer them or provide you some form of solutions. Um, but yeah, this is where everyone can bring their questions. You can teach us some new tips or give us some new perspective on some of the things that we're talking about or share your perspective. And then also, if you got some issues or challenges with technology that you're facing, this is your opportunity to ask us about them, and we can nerd out together and figure out how we can help. So let's talk tech, and all of this is in our vision to make the world a better place, one solution at a time. So please join us every Tuesday and Thursdays for an hour from 11:30 to 12:30. Sometimes we're a little late. We are a business. We're a small business, so we try to cater to our clients, right? So if we're meeting with a client right before this or after this, we might have to cut it short, or we might be here a little bit later as we try to satisfy our clients. So just like everyone else, we only have 24 hours in a day, and we're trying to leverage every minute of it. And so, yeah, thank you guys for joining us today. Oof, we talked a lot last month.
Yes,
We talk a lot.
yes.
Why? Why do we talk a lot? it's funny because I'm not a person that
Interesting.
likes talking. I'm an actual introvert at heart, but I love talking about this stuff. So that's probably why I can talk about it for so much. But anything else, I'm probably just listening. So last month, Laura already spoke about what we've gone through, and here's the list on the screen. Oh man, I really loved when we talked about the AI frameworks and the soft. You know, all of this goes hand in hand because AI is technology, and technology's like we always say, technology is a tool, right? It's how we use it, and so it's a tool for the tool. And that's what AI is. So this time, what happens if a super intelligent AI goes rogue? Right? So we're gonna talk about some mishaps, some some dreaded stories of AI and because we've been talking about a lot of the good, right? A lot of the good, and we try to bring up some risks and some concerns about AI. But what's going on out there? What's going on in the world of examples of AI where things just
We're bad.
didn't go well. It was just a bad example. Those because through that there's a lot of learnings, right? So we have to really focus on the bad to so that it doesn't happen to you, and then also so that that didn't work. Learn from other people's mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what's wrong? The word that triggered me this morning. Oh,
You want to tell the story of why it triggered you? Why? Who brought it up? You brought it up, and then I used it against you.
yes, yes. So funny story today. I am a user just like everyone and all of our clients do, and we have this tool to communicate internally, and we have a rule that if you haven't really fixed something, sort of like ask for help, which I didn't for the first half an hour while I was just bursting and just like I was already getting into my, I guess, my boiling point with one of the tools that we use, and it was, I don't want to say it was my fault,
It's
but
always your
I
fault.
was not partial. Now I was less wrong only because I knew the button is it. I
I
like
love
the
that you
less
use
wrong.
less wrong.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but I was just not completely right, right? So the thing is that the point is that you made it a good point that yes, it looks like we had not set up something that should have been set up that didn't allow me to complete my task. And so that was just the one reason, and it could have been fixed by a 1 minute conversation if I had I raised my hand before. So uh, so the system wasn't trying to go wrong on me. Obviously, it was the user, just not behaving like we should, like having to ask some help and just say, "Hey, listen, I don't know what's going on in here." But I just went like, "Oh, what is going on? Just tell me." But we fixed it. We fixed
Yeah.
it, and it should have been earlier.
Yeah. And what did I say that was very like
Like
that
that.
is the highlight point of this. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm gonna
scrolling up through
go.
our chat logs.
Yes, me too. I'm gonna go, sis. No, Laura. Current non-AA system cannot go wrong. And they're designated as such by humans. Either there's something wrong with the system or something wrong with the understanding of the human on how to use the system. And I went like, I know where that button is or what does it do. But but it was right. You were right. I was less right. And I should have raised my hand to someone that knows how to use the system better, which was the whole point of asking for help. And so we had used the tool, but I'm not the expert on it.
Yeah,
So
and
there you
it's
go.
funny because I that
This
was
was
a
today.
very yeah, that was today. That was this morning when first starting work, and then Laura's like fuming over here about why isn't this working? Ugh!
Mm,
um, and it's funny because it goes to like from the beginning of my very the beginning of my tech career. I had a mentor. Actually, he was my team lead, my boss, right? And he he would always say the problem was between the keyboard and the chair. So who's between the keyboard and the chair, right? So that's something that we as an IT department we would always kind of so what we know everybody got visibility as to all of the issues and bugs and problems that come in as an IT department. And we were a smaller team, and we would always ask, like, "Oh, so what happened?" And so that became a standard phrase of like, "It was the problem between the keyboard and the chair."
in the chair.
Um,
Oh.
and
Yep.
and so and kind of I reflect back to that because um, that's all part of that user experience, right? If the user is not understanding the system, so why did that happen? um, and it's always about why. There's reasoning and there's a rationale to why everything, especially in a technology world, because what is it? It's a tool, it's a system. The system is a tool. This
Hmm.
where there's no system yet that controls itself, that creates
Hmm.
its own code, that builds itself. And so, from that perspective, all of the systems that have been created and designed have been created and designed for particular purpose and particular use cases, and it has that it was meant to be used the way it was created, right? And so, a lot of people that don't understand that and I'm one of those people. Like once I get into a system, it's like, I hate how they, and especially we're the most critical. Like us engineers and developers that know how to build systems, we're the most critical because we're like, this isn't the way we would have built it, and we're like, this is bad because it's not the way we would have done it. Um, and and you have to be careful with that mindset, right? Because you're that's a very singular view, right? It's one perspective, and maybe you're not
Hmm.
capturing the perspective of all the thousands and probably millions of users that use the platform just like you, but you are looking at from a very one
Narrow.
point narrow view, right?
Yeah.
And
Narrow
so
perspective. Hmm.
and so that's where education is really important, right? Because it allows you to understand how the system was designed to be used. And then once you understand how the system was designed to be used, I think then that's when you should complain because
Hmm.
this was not designed the way I meant it to do. So now that's a
Yeah.
question is, well, why are you using that system if it's not designed for you, right?
Hmm.
And so, anyways, I'm gonna drop off my soap opera. That kind of led into our presentation today of
Hmm.
rogue. Right? Well, what is rogue? Someone that is dishonest or unprincipled, right? They do their no matter the rules, no matter the path, they will steer off of it,
Hmm.
right? So that's and when we say rogue systems, there I don't believe in rogue systems, right?
Hmm.
I just believe that I mean there's a lot of movies where like, oh, the system went rogue, and a lot those are a lot of AI um, type of movies.
Related. Hmm.
Yeah, um, but we're not there yet. There's nothing um, in our world yet that has that level of autonomy. Um, they're really fine tuned and defined. So how can AI go rogue?
You can't.
So at the end of the day, it's still a machine. It still got its instruction from something, someone. Um, and so there are really three ways it can go wrong, right? The one out of the outset is an engineering problem, right?
Hmm.
It was it has a design flaw, or it has a design feature that people didn't understand how it was supposed to be used, right? So that would be some oversight from the engineer, or maybe a use case or scenario that was never even thought about.
Mm.
So
Yep.
that's when the creativity of our users are really
Beyond
important.
our understanding.
Yeah, because of course, right? If you build a tool for it to be designed one way, um, the our users who, um, probably thinking about it from a different. Again, they're thinking about it from their perspective.
Yeah, it's an
They will,
outlier.
yeah, they will use it from their perspective.
Yeah.
And did we capture that perspective, right? In our design, and that's where you have these design flaws. It just wasn't designed to capture that perspective. So this is important because this could potentially, anything rogue in this manner can be a security issue,
Hmm.
right? Because at least that's where I go to, right? That's my first thought, as okay, user found this design feature or design flaw. What does that affect? What security does that affect? Because that's the most important part, right? Are we are Does it leak data? Does it um, does it affect our data architecture? Does it affect our data integrity? Um, because at the end of the day, the data is the most important thing, right? So if they find a design flaw or they're using it, the user has gone rogue, right? And they're using that, they're taking advantage of that design flaw. Then um, we need to understand everything around that, right? So that we can patch it up. Um, from an AI perspective, if you're not getting what you want, is because it doesn't have enough data around that topic or that information. So that's poor training data, poor context, right? So can really AI go rogue? Not really. It just gives you the information of as to what it has to its capacity.
Hmm.
And then also your prompt, right? If you have a really crappy prompt or really poor instructions, or your goals aren't aligned with what it can do, then that's where you have misaligned goals.
Yep.
Yeah,
No.
you don't want to give them open-ended prompts, right? You usually want to know exactly what you want in return.
Hmm. Yep. That was, you actually mentioned just the last cost of the rogue AI, the prompt injection, which is literally just something that it wasn't contemplated to be considered. But yeah, there
Yeah,
are causes for all of this.
yeah. I mean, this. So, what I how I see AI, as a I used to be a back end, really, my real strong point is in the back end infrastructure type of architecture portion. And so SQL injections, database injections, things like that. From a data perspective, um, that is something that isn't new, and it's something that's very important, because if there's anything like that that is in your system, in your code, then that could be very that's a security risk. And what is AI? If you provide it your context, if you provided access to your database, if you provided your data, um, then if someone can change the instructions of the AI and it has access to that data, that's where prompt injection and model poisoning can really come and hurt you and bite and essentially becomes rogue AI. But it's not necessarily rogue AI because the AI has gone rogue. It's because you have a rogue user that
Hmm.
has now created
Found
prompt
your
injection.
insight.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it found a security flaw, right?
Yep.
Essentially. And now they're leveraging it to do prompt injection and to do model poisoning and things like that. So that's where it's like this is very important stuff, right? So I have a story for programming errors. We have a client who is using Replit to build a huge platform, a very big platform, um, and Replit has an AI agent that helps you build and write code for you and creates the data structures and things like that. If you are not educated in programming
Hmm.
and have experience of the structures, the frameworks, how to build it together, where is it going to be deployed, how is it going to be deployed? Think there's so I mean it's a huge undertaking to create. Um, it's a big project, right? To create a platform application.
Hmm.
There's a lot of things to
I'm
take into consideration.
I'm gonna go ahead and just say like little parenthesis for the expertise insight. Nope. So.
Exactly. That's it. That's all it is. It's expertise insight. So programming errors. So this story with Replit, huge amount of hours, no framework. Every time you make and this is standard of programming, right? Every time you use an agent to add code or update the code, something else breaks, or
Oops.
something that used to work before breaks, right? So it's a great, I love it because it's a great accelerator to the learning process of everything that happens in the developer world, because a great developer learns from all of its errors. And we talked about there was a quote last week of how do you best learn, or like what's the future. It's like you err and then you err again and you err again and you err again. And so that is literally how you talk to any senior developer, that any senior system engineer, software engineer, um, literally face when you're facing a challenge and you don't know how to fix that challenge, and now you have to go learn how to fix that challenge. Well, that's you learn, right? You learn from those errors so that the next time you see that error, you know exactly what you need to do, right? Um, Data tampering. Um, yeah, especially if you have so if you have AI plugged into your database doing data processing or like standardization of that data without any human. So this is so I'm gonna pair data tampering with uncontrolled autonomy be here, because that is
Hmm.
that's that's going to be a rogue AI. It takes one hallucination to to mess that
Oh,
up.
we have the meme to show at the end. So funny.
Yeah, and then evolutionary pressures here, right? Um, AI is not new, but it's not finished.
Hmm.
So
Oh, that's a
it's
good good quote.
thank you.
Hmm.
Um, so these evolutionary pressures, you're going to have leadership. You're going to have directors that are going to want to push AI to do something that it is just not ready for yet.
Hmm.
Um, and and of course, right, we can build anything, right? We can build AI to assist AI that then assists another AI that then provides an output with AI. So we
Oh.
can create a model, an architecture around AI to get what we want ultimately. But what happens when the model improves? And so now, can the same model do two of those AI processes, rather than the 20 that we had to do for the entire process, right?
Mhm.
It's all about cutting the problem down a little bit further. Um, and, and of course, when it comes to automation, right? If you can't automate it at that scale, well, make it a little bit smaller and automate the little pieces around it, and then essentially you have the automations at that scale. Um, so that's where evolutionary pressures come in, right? You're trying to push AI to something that's not ready, and I equate this to my children because I can push and push my 6 year old to try and read harder books and read her, her Pokemon games and on the Switch and stuff like that. But there are just things that she's not ready for. There are words there are just topics that a child is just not ready to comprehend, to be able to learn completely. They might understand the big level concept, and it's just like every human, like you need to understand there's a way that you will understand that concept, and until you figure out that aha moment,
My aha moment.
yeah, then
Oh.
you're just gonna have a blurry picture, right? A blurry
Yeah.
perspective of that topic, which in most cases, that's fine because you can continue to go forward, and as long as you're going in the right direction with a good heart and a good mind, then you're probably going to get some success there.
Hmm.
Sorry guys, my lunch is sitting right next to me, and that's a huge distraction. um, it's a big distraction. But yeah, that evolutionary pressure, right? Of I want this to do this right now, but the technology is just not there to do that,
Hmm.
or the ROI is just not there. We can do it, but look, you're gonna cost way more. It's gonna cost way more money. A new model is gonna come down 3 months from now, and um, you're not you already spent that money. It's an opportunity cost. It's sunk, it's a sunk cost. There's no reason to talk about it anymore. So I think that evolutionary pressure is really a strategic
We're,
approach. You got to be smart
hmm
about it.
I think we're living a lot of those flaws. Um, and I mean, we mentioned some of them here that are famous, but I can only think of other lawsuits in which, big companies have gone through this in a very painful money financially way. I was gonna say, yeah. So is their own way to understand that, because it has hurt them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, so you have the three types of rogue AI: maliciously rogue. I'm assuming. I don't believe that there is any such thing of rogue AI. I think this is just something that we're using. It's just a marketing, right?
It could be marketing. I'm thinking. Uh, I wouldn't go by. I've had it, and we've had together. If you recall, I'm not. We're not gonna say any names. That's not. There's not. It's not the point to trash anything. But I have been through two in true malicious marketing intent. Where it's just too evident that something has gone wrong, and I do my reading. So it's almost as if you're malicious. The malicious rogue is about manipulating an action towards a user to take the direction that you want for them to maybe get into a trap that the user doesn't want. And I have gone through some of that. And was it intentional? Maybe there's an intention there for me to spend way more, most amount of dollars that I wasn't meant to spend. And it happened. How did it happen? Maybe I didn't read the fine print, right?
Right.
But it was intention. So
Yeah.
that's where maybe that's the right definition. It's a malicious
Yeah.
intention.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And an accidental, like a hallucination, wrong prompt, things like that. And what do you mean by subverted rogue?
This was a term that I got from a subversion. Is this techniques like prompt injection that can manipulate AI to behave in unintended ways? So it's almost like the exact same.
Like a malicious intent in a
Yeah,
way. Okay.
it almost looks like the exact same malicious.
And it all comes down to these three things, right?
Yep.
Your
Yes.
security, who's security, which falls along with autonomous decision making, which if it's AI, that's a concern, right? Is it making the right decisions, or is it making the right decisions for you, right? It could be making the right decisions for others, but is
Hmm.
it making the right decisions for you?
Hmm.
Is it providing value for you? Super intelligence. I don't see super intelligence as a risk or a concern because it's fed off of our data, right? So I think it will only be able to match the data that we have,
Hmm. Oh,
which is a form of
when
super intelligence because if it's
yeah,
able to catch everything, yeah.
when I read about the like I kind of went through the perspective of the lawyer trusting, the case that went mentioned, and I just went like, I mean, don't you think a lawyer has a very high critical thinking in their scheme of work? For them to think that something that was going to be provided by a tool could be wrong. So I mean, that's where the super intelligence is like, there's no tool that will be super intelligent, and we need to be critical thinkers of that. So I just went like, yeah, that's the risk, thinking that the tool is a super intelligence tool.
Yeah, yeah. You always got to validate the information. Um, a lot of it is common sense. A lot of how we use AI is really, um, you know what you want, you know how to do it, you know what you want, you know what the output should look like. It's just while that's generating, I'm doing something else over here. Right, so while it's building the framework and the template of what you're wanting, you're working on something else, right? Well, that's being uh, outputted back to you. um, so yeah, some mitigation strategies, right? We always want to monitor AI behavior. You want to make sure that you, so the way we've done that with the monitor AI behavior is that um, if it is something where it's doing something for a person or for a role, that role is the gatekeeper of saying whether that date information was correct or not.
Hmm.
And so from that perspective of whether it was correct or not, that's the filter, right? It's either right or wrong. If it's right, it passes through. If it's wrong, well, now the human interferes and corrects it and then passes it through. Right, so it's not 100% of an accuracy. It's more of, let's make sure that this is right, and
Revision.
we're guaranteeing 100% or something close to 100% accuracy by involving the actual expert or the role as the approver of what the AI had done. Another way we've done it is by aligning goals. So we can create KPIs, right? If it's an agent, right, it's doing something on your behalf, then it should be measurable, right? And you should be able to have a dashboard and KPIs around it. And so now you can see if you have the data on the measurement of the AI to see if it's aligning to the goals and the objectives that you set out for the AI, right? So that's how I would even say, instead of align to goals, right? It's measure the AI, measure its output, measure its performance, and then of course always implement safeguards and making sure that it cannot go outside of those guardrails. And we got to test that vigorously. If it does go outside the guardrails, why? Right? Immediately, why? And solve for X at that point. So if you need any help with any of these mitigation strategies for your AI systems or for your automations or just in general, then please contact us at info@ebdevtech.com and we would be more than happy to help you with your strategies. So let's talk smack. Notable AI
This is
failures.
this is a similar quote. I think I'm gonna go to the recording just to check because you said something that is similar to A smart until it isn't. So
Yes,
it's a great quote only because we are going to be continue developing AI, and that will be kind of like the main um, the tagline that will need to go along the purpose of doing that.
absolutely. Yeah, it's we're the babysitters at the end of the day. It's either going
Hmm.
to give us the information correctly, or if it's going to give us, or it's going to do it wrong, and it's up to us. We are the judges of whether it's right or wrong, right? So
Hmm.
um, that's that's where we're going, and honestly, everybody has learned the hard way of well, it didn't give me what I want.
Yes.
All right.
So poor McDonald's.
Yeah, wasn't the McDonald's situation where it was literally they ordered 225 chicken tenders or something or mixed spices and the AI
Yes.
allowed it to be ordered? Like
Yes.
there was no question about it. Like it just took the order. It didn't say, are you sure? Let me talk to my manager. Or like, hey,
Yes.
can you come inside? There was like no restrictions. There was no security protocols in place for
Yeah.
anomalies.
What a great way to put into, because I right now you just figured out the little constraint that must have been placed even before launching it, right? Because I think I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have you have to come to the door, right? Because I want to see you buy 200 and something. But there was also the story in the same uh, within the same ordering system that just continue to not get the information of the client, and it just, I don't know, whatever happened, it was obviously um it wasn't ready.
It wasn't ready.
Hmm.
I wonder if we can have a soundboard. Oh,
Sound,
I found out how we can play music.
no way, just now.
Yeah.
Soundboard, it wasn't ready. Look at that.
Oh my goodness. All right. So we figured that out on accident.
Hmm.
Awesome. So next time we should have music. So now we got to figure out
I
what
could.
music we can play that we have the rights and that to stream and
Right.
all that. So we got to figure that piece out. Um, and that's where I'll use AI to generate something for us.
Nice.
All right. So what's this Amazon AI's the recruitment tool? What happened? Ooh, that's bad.
Oh yeah, that
That's
was.
really bad.
Hmm. I mean, was it
I'm
intentional? That's when
surprised I
you go
didn't
by.
hear about that. Yeah.
Um, it was probably, you know how there might have been some sort of a sample. You always go through kind of like a sample of how things might behave, and it might have not been like completely famous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It penalized. Wow, wow, wow. I want to know. So no comment from Amazon.
Yeah. Maybe it
Okay,
wasn't a
so it was never
real big
used. Yeah, it
sample.
was
It
never
was never
used.
used. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
It
so
was only
it was just a test.
mm-hmm. I mean, but the test even involves this whole development, right? Involves the budgeting, the time, and just about everything that it would take for you to create a tool, as such tool. And
Yeah.
so
But I'm surprised that they scrapped it. Like that's the
it's
thing.
great.
What I don't understand about scrapping projects like this is like you've already built the framework and you found the problem, fixed the problem. Or maybe
I
yeah, the
mean,
ROI just wasn't there, but or
it
maybe the
might
way
they
they
might have
architected
sold it.
that too.
We don't know. Mhm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yep. Somebody, I'm
Were
not
they
sure.
you? I wonder which model was being used that just look because Amazon's
I didn't go that
was
far.
men, Apple was more towards men.
More
So
the worst men. Yep.
wow,
They
interesting.
both are similar, right? They kind of like offer
But it also depends on the data. What if the data actually is there more? There's
led to
probably a lot
that.
more. Yeah, there's more
Mm-hmm.
data on men than there probably is on. And honestly, that is actually a foolproof. Every type of data. There is actually a lot more. I think there's a lot more data on men than there are on women because it has been a man's world for a really long time up until like past 40, 50 years ago, 60
Right.
years ago. But even though like 60 years of data, huh?
I I would
Or
think
maybe we don't
that,
have a lot of data.
yeah, I think that's it. I mean, if this level, because we're talking high level, right? These are huge companies. If this level of data is still being framed and still make this, I don't think it was a huge mistake, but it still makes this mistake. Can you imagine other? I mean, that is um just triggering. It's just triggering these thoughts of who is developing this tool. I'm thinking Apple or Amazon are doing these tools to better serve their clients. Um, which,
Absolutely.
but yeah,
Yeah.
you know, because it's just a
Maybe it's not
way.
their fault. Yeah, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just the data's fault. Because I
Mm,
can see that being I can see
misleading.
that being true here that there's just more data on men. I mean, it wasn't until
Hmm.
recently that women started being more in those studies for autism, right? So like, I
Well,
think
we
there's only
didn't
been
had
what.
autism before.
No, no, y'all did. We just didn't study you guys about it
Oh wow.
for the
Yeah.
longest time, right? So, um,
Maybe
yeah,
there's a huge, because we've you just reminded me of something like that, right? Like, we don't hear this much of a writers and painters in this world, the most famous one, because it's only been a matter of prioritizing the male structure. Yeah, we still live in that male world. Oh,
it's tough.
it
I'm
is.
sorry, Laura.
Tell me about
I
it.
I know, I know. But I think it's. I feel like it's always getting better.
Yeah, we're
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 going in the right direction for the most part
mhm.
as a society.
As long as there's
For
tolerance and a room to talk, I think that there's always going to be room for improvement from
Do
both
we have
sides.
tolerance, Laura, at EV DevTech?
We do, yeah, we do. Sometimes you have yelled, but in all caps, but I don't take them like that. Nah, I'm joking. Like, I don't take
In
all
all
caps yet.
caps. I don't. I don't think you know my all caps in real life.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's of course that level of, I can take like, there's not a lot of women also, and I'm not speaking from, my entire gender, but I feel like I have a high tolerance in male environments, only because I believe that if we don't do that, we are giving you the reason why. It's like, it's almost as if there's this balance between the both of our energies, because you are also, you know, we're gonna go all what's it called, we
Yeah,
both
it's all
have
about equal. Like,
feminine and
hey, if I
masculine
gotta,
energy.
you gotta make your space. You know,
Yeah,
if someone's taking up your space, get out of my space, man.
exactly. Yeah, it's a, and we all have this room, right?
Yeah,
This, both of these energies. So
exactly.
I don't know, I am very tolerant. It's like it, I consider myself tolerant.
You're also very strong. So you're strong spoken. Um,
Thank
Going back
you.
to this, I like
Yes.
the autopilot crashes because
Mm, poor
this is
people.
actually yeah. Well, unfortunately, some of them have been really bad crashes.
Really? I,
Yeah.
wow.
But I, you know, in any case, it has to. I feel like they're part of the journey, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of bound to happen. If it's left by chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which when it's something new at that scale, um, I mean, we haven't even discovered everything that's in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't know everything on our own planet,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have data on everything on our own planet. So I just feel like anything that we make that interacts with our environment in real life is just in the begin, especially in the beginning, is prone to have
Mistakes.
some mistakes because again,
Yeah.
right? It was we could as an engineer we could have state of the art facilities. We can have simulations. We can buy simulated cities to train you know the cars in and Tesla does that, right? They have
Mm-hmm.
some studios where you go, some warehouse where you go in and it's just literally a small little town, right? It simulates a town. um, but even then, right?
It's all going to be that risk. I
Exactly.
I remember. This is a personal story of mine. I rode in a Tesla without knowing I was getting into a Tesla, and the person that was giving me a ride home was actually
Elon
introduced
Musk.
me. No. What? No, no. So this guy was super friendly. I was actually just riding with my friends out, but he offered me a ride to the exact same place, and I said, "What? Are you riding in a Tesla?" And the guy had a Tesla, and I could not be more excited. Like, what? You have a Tesla? Let's get in that thing. And that's the I felt like a little child in this burst of energy just coming out. Like that's like a huge achievement. That's what the owner must feel. But these whole failure things, I guess they need to happen when, and I'm thinking poor people that have been through this, this mess of having an accident and who's responsible and all of that. But there was still that moment in which I felt like super excited by that. I thought that, I mean, we're leaving this world and it's just amazing. I thought it was amazing, but I was super scared at the end. Like, there's no way you're not touching that thing. Oh, no, no. He just went like, no. I think you need to put your hands down on that wheel, please.
Oh, I missed it. There it is. I just want to show. I've never heard of the Microsoft Tay.
Oh, really? Oh, this was the
Yeah,
chat. Yep.
the chatbot. Yeah.
I Where was it? Oh, I closed that window of the story.
Let's go to the Wikipedia.
Mm.
So it was a chatbot, Twitter. It was a Twitter
Mm,
bot,
yeah.
and it began to post inflammatory and offensive tweets. I want to see some pictures.
Mhm. Yep.
They got to shut it down 16 hours later.
16 hours. Can you imagine what a mess it did?
I want to see what it
Because
said. What did
Twitter
it
is like,
say?
Twitter can get into your boiling point. It
Oh, it
has.
was red pilling everybody.
Mm, what is that?
And then it started releasing racist and section some messages. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Bad
So,
AI.
well, that's what happens when you put it. So, I mean, I think Twitter was, I mean, a very toxic. I mean, it's still technically. It depends on where. It's all on your algorithm, right? If you're toxic, then your algorithm's gonna be toxic. But Twitter back in the
If
day,
you're toxic,
like
right?
you're gonna have if you're toxic, you're gonna have a toxic algorithm. But I think I think Twitter back in the day before all this was pretty rough.
Yeah,
It was a rough
2016.
environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so you have this bot that has now been trained on everybody's
Toxic.
common
Yeah.
toxic traits, and
Yep.
then you have it responding to comments. Of course.
Poor people.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. I didn't know that one. Okay. I guess it was short lived.
Yeah.
I've never been a big a big fan of Twitter per se. Um,
Yeah, me neither.
I'm more
Most
I'm
of the
involved now. I'm involved now, but I usually just use it for like capturing news, like latest, like current news, like
there
the
used to
latest and greatest.
be there there used to be a glory time for Twitter for me in which there were just so many cat memes. They were hilarious. I mean, so it was an outlet for me to just burst laugh out loud and like wow. But there was obviously an intention, the Twitter is always it was always good for the trending stuff like
Yeah,
um anything that was going on live, like the Super Bowl or just any
things in
activity
real
that,
time, like real time
yeah, like,
feeds of what's
oh,
going on.
like this show. I used to watch this show. I don't watch it enough now. It was Voice and
Oh
Americans
yeah,
Got Talent.
yeah.
I thought they were like, if I can vote for you, of course I'll vote for you. Like, there were people that were so highly talented there that was like, of course I'll go to Twitter to vote for you. It's like, oh my goodness. I think
Awesome.
that was a good intention of Twitter, uh, what
Yeah,
it needs to be
that's a
doing.
good use of social media. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. Of course.
So what's going on? This is Mata versus Avianca Inc.
Yeah. So this was, I literally asked ChatGPT
Oh
and
yeah, this is yeah.
so I gave ChatGPT the news of the lawyer, and I had to ask him. I also had a misspell in my asking, and but it understood that, and it apologized. Like, okay, I know you have no feelings, little but it looks like this is also a mistake that happened when AI did go wrong, and why we just need to, you know, be careful. Hallucinate without an age.
Yeah, I
Sorry about
mean
that.
that's crazy. That's crazy. Give me um 1 second. I'm getting a call.
Oh, we're about to wrap it up. If you can just go to the next slide, and again, detecting rogue AI. So we just concluded, right, that AI could go wrong because we made
Because of
something.
yeah, it's always our fault, right? It's a tool, right? So it's always the user's fault. Um, and again, I don't believe in rogue AI. I just believe in rogue users. Um, the system's designed the way it's designed, unless you have a rogue developer that created the AI to be designed as a rogue agent,
Of
right?
course.
Which
Yep.
has gives me an idea. An I'm gonna create an agent which is just supposed to be rogue. Like I think that's a meme.
That's a meme.
That's a meme, right? Like you put in your prompts and its sole job is to get it wrong.
I don't know. Like, do you have time for that, Eric?
I don't. I have all these ideas that I just don't have time to build.
Maybe,
Um,
yeah. That's a good idea, but I don't think it
it's
can
not
go.
even a good idea. It's a waste of time. It's a meme. It's just for fun. It should be a hobby
Yeah, I
thing, but
didn't
I'm
want to
just
tell you that it was a bad idea.
it's a bad idea. It's a funny bad idea.
It's a funny bad idea. There you go. It's a good
Um,
conclusion. So
but
yes, you know what I did here? I put must and can only because organization must and can is like a is a little balance between you must be doing that. Sometimes you can't, and but you have to can
you
you
have to
have to go
come
in that
back.
direction. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to create a robust framework for detecting that. So maybe your prompt can actually detect this bad. You don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that makes sense. Um,
This is an example of how a bad prompt bot can do. So there you go.
exactly, exactly. Well, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it all of this should have been discussed before you even started, right?
Hmm.
Especially, I mean, it depends on how big the project is, and what it's trying to do. But yeah, you have to make sure that you have a robust framework and make sure that you thought it through. It's most important, and then also making sure that you've thought about security, not only for your data, but for yourself, and then for the people that are using it.
Of course. this this is hilarious. How to confuse machine learning.
And this is the reason why we have supervised learning. This is wrong. Take that out of the data set. That's a muffin. Um, this is awesome. But yeah, right? It's AI is only as good as its training data.
Yeah.
So
So
if you give
a human needs to tell the AI, look, look, my little Pepe.
exactly, so there's still, we're the teachers, so they still have to learn, right? And we're teaching it how to learn and what to learn.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I'm gonna start uploading Instagram pictures of muffins and be like, "Hey, look at my little dog," and then anybody that uses Instagram pictures as their training data set. Oh my goodness.
Also, another idea you don't have time for.
Yeah, I don't. But that
Unfortunately.
one's easier though. That I can go to Google muffin and post a picture of a muffin, a raisin muffin.
Okay, and then they'll upload in a
Yeah,
bulk,
just upload
and
it and then put a caption.
bulk upload. That's so funny. Okay, let's do it. What are we doing? What are we doing next month?
Yeah,
This is actually a couple of words that I put, but we need to figure how to get the AI to actually be doing some business logic and where are the challenges for those specific industries, and just get very real in terms of what customers are facing and what solutions do we bring.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, and we've built, we built a bunch of solutions. Ooh, maybe we should have like a week where we go over, like we do demos of some solutions that we've done.
yeah, yep,
Okay.
some of them.
Some of them.
Yeah,
We
because
can't
I
show
know we
you, we
can't
can't show
really
you the
show
best
all of
ones.
them. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's the one thing. I thought about it and there would only be um we might start with e-commerce, but we'll see.
awesome. But yeah, AI driven solutions for business logic challenges. And that's what's to come. So, do you have any questions? Send them to us. We hope you learned something new today. You can email us at info@ebdevtech.com, or you can visit our website and schedule an appointment with us at ebdevtech.com. Our phone number is 832-937-9622, and we'll be happy to talk to you. I hope you learned something today, and take care. Enjoy.
Goodbye.
Bye. I didn't have a beer today. Next time, next time. Thursday.
Oh,
No, today's
okay.
Thursday. Tuesday. I might need one on Tuesday.
You might. Okay.
Take care.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, Laura. That was good.